Soft wind, wood creaking, a heartbeat, darkness. The world begins with a shiver, a soundless, frozen breath drifting over a long, narrow Viking longship cutting through black water. The sky is iron, the sea merciless, and the night so deep it feels alive. You're not a warrior, not a Viking, not even a sailor. You're a slave chained to the bottom of the ship. And tonight, the sea feels hungry. It is impossible to tell morning from night down here. Light never reaches the bottom deck. Only cold, brine, and the stink of bodies packed too closely. You wake with a jolt as the ship slams against a wave. Chains bite into your wrists. Your breath hangs pale and ghostly in the freezing air. This is your world. Ropes dripping with seawater. Wooden ribs of the ship breathing like a living beast. Rats moving between ankles. Dozens of slaves curled like dying animals. Everyone is silent. No one wastes energy on words. You try to move your fingers. They obey, but slowly like rusted hinges. Above you, boots thunder across the deck. Vikings shouting, laughing, drinking. The sound presses down through the wood like the weight of the gods. A voice to your left whispers, "It's morning, I think. Morning, night, it doesn't matter. Down here, time freezes the same way your toes did 2 weeks ago." Someone coughs, wet, hollow, dangerous. Someone else mutters a prayer in a tongue you don't understand. You lift your head. The world tilts. The longship lurches again, throwing you against the wooden beam. Your shoulder screams. Your stomach growls. Empty for 2 days except for a handful of dried fish scraps thrown down as if feeding dogs. The man beside you leans in. "They'll check chains soon," he murmurs. "Don't look strong. Don't look weak. Just look nothing." You try, but your eyes burn from salt and sleeplessness. Then, a thundering stomp above your head. The entire ship goes silent. A heavy body begins descending the ladder. Every heartbeat in the bottom deck stops. It is the overseer. He carries a torch, and its light cuts through the gloom like a blade, revealing shivering skin, raw wrists, swollen eyes. He walks along the row, tapping each chain with a metal rod. Ting, ting, ting. A test. If any chain is loose, someone dies. His voice is deep, cold, and bored. "Wake up, slaves. The sea is calm today, which means we can row harder." Your stomach tightens, because you know what comes next. The oars will be lowered. You will be dragged up the deck. You will row until your hands split, until your shoulders tear, until someone collapses. And when someone collapses, they go overboard, alive. The overseer stops in front of you. His torch inches from your face, heat burning your frozen skin. His eyes narrow. You're still breathing. He grabs your chin and lifts your face. His hand smells of sweat, mead, and iron. Then he releases you and smirks. "Row well today, or the sea will own you." He moves on. Your heart finally beats again. Someone beside you whispers, 24 hours. Just survive the next 24 hours. But deep inside, you know the truth. On a Viking longship in winter, 24 hours is a lifetime. The moment the overseer climbs back up the ladder, the slaves begin to move, slowly, stiffly, like corpses remembering they are still alive. A horn blows above deck. Low, long, cold. Rowing time. 2 Vikings stomp down with ropes and iron hooks. They shout orders in Old Norse, their words rough as gravel. One of them points at you. You. Up. Your legs barely respond. Your wrists scream as they jerk you forward by the chain. The slaves climb the ladder one by one, like broken shadows. When you reach the deck, the world hits you like a blade. The wind is a monster screaming across the open sea. Spray slashes your face. Your skin burns. Your bones shake. You look around. The Viking longship cuts through black water. The horizon a line of steel. The sky a slab of iron. This ship is a floating winter. 20 oars lie ready. Massive, brutal things. Each one heavier than your body. The overseer shouts, "Seat, grip, pull." You take your place at the oar. Your hands freeze the moment they touch the wood. A Viking walks behind each rower with a rope whip. Their boots thud in rhythm. Row, row, row. The oar dips into the sea. Your shoulders tear instantly. Your wrists burn from the cold. Your breath fogs, so thick you can hardly see. Every stroke feels like a lifetime. The man in front of you collapses for a second. The whip cracks across his back, skin splitting open like cloth. He groans and forces himself up. You swallow hard. Salt, blood, and fear mix in your mouth. The overseer watches you. Harder. You lean your entire body into the oar. Your spine screams. Your ribs feel like they're cracking. The rower beside you whispers through clenched teeth. Don't show weakness. Don't let them see pain. Your hands slip. The cold has eaten through your flesh. You feel blood on the handle. The longship hits a wave. Freezing water crashes over the deck. You gasp like you've been stabbed. A Viking laughs. Look at the slave. The sea bites harder than the whip. They find your suffering amusing. Hours pass, or maybe minutes, or maybe days. On a Viking ship, time is measured only by hunger and pain. Your vision blurs. Your arms tremble. You feel the oar pulling you, dragging you into the sea's rhythm. Then suddenly, white heavy check marks something changes. A shadow moves along the upper deck. Heavy, slow steps. Authority in every stride. The rowers around you go still. Even the overseer stiffens. This is no ordinary warrior. This is the Jarl. He circles behind you, watching the slaves as if choosing which ones are worth keeping alive. He stops behind you. You feel his presence like a storm. A hand grips your shoulder, iron fingers digging into bone. He leans forward, voice low, cold, full of power. Row well, and you may see land again. Then he whispers the second half. Row poorly, and you will feed the sea. He moves on, leaving a trail of fear behind him. Your heartbeat becomes a hammer. You grip the oar harder. You pull until your lungs burn, until your vision shakes, until you can't feel your fingers. The sea roars. The ship groans. Your muscles tear. This is not rowing. This is survival by inches. At last, after hours of agony, the horn sounds again. Rowing stops. Your hands fall limply from the oar. Your chest heaves. You can taste blood. Above you, the sky darkens. A storm is forming. Beside you, the rower mutters, "If the sea doesn't kill us, the Vikings will." He's wrong. You know the truth. Rowing ends, but suffering doesn't. The slaves sag in their places, shoulders trembling, backs striped with fresh welts. Your fingers feel carved from ice. Your stomach twists like a rope being pulled from both ends. It has been 3 days since you tasted anything that could be called food, and even then, it was a piece of dried fish smaller than your thumb. A Viking drags a wooden bucket across the deck, the sound scraping into your ears like a rusted blade. He kicks it toward the slaves. Inside are chunks of something gray, stringy, and wet. A rower whispers, "Salted meat or rotten?" Hard to tell. The Viking laughs. "Eat fast, slavis." Eat slow, and the goals will get it. A few men reach for the bucket. Hands shaking, eyes hollow. You force yourself forward and take a piece. It's cold, hard, smells like old leather soaked in seawater. You try to chew. Your teeth protest. Your jaw feels like it might crack. A man beside you retches. Another devours his portion so quickly he scrapes his fingers on the wood. Hunger is no longer a feeling. It is a creature living inside you, clawing, biting, thinking for you. Above deck, the Vikings laugh as they tear into fresh bread, smoked fish, warm ale. The contrast stings worse than the whip. You look at them, their breath steaming in the cold air. Their cloaks thick, their hands full, their stomachs warm. You can't help it. A thought creeps into your mind. I was stolen from my home to feed their hunger, while mine devours me. The slave beside you nudges your arm with a trembling elbow. Eat. Don't think. But thinking is all you have left. White heavy check mark, a new cruelty arrives. The horn blows again, short and sharp. The overseer steps forward, holding a wooden ladle dripping with something thin and cloudy. Broth, if you can call it that. More water than food. He passes each man a small wooden cup. You lift yours. It smells of old fish, boiled bones, burnt fat, smoke, but the steam rising from it feels like hope. You bring it to your lips. The first sip burns your tongue, not from heat, but from the shock of tasting something liquid. Your eyes almost water. The overseer watches you drink, smirking. Careful, slave. If you drink too fast, you'll remember what warmth is. And then the cold will break you. A chill runs through your spine. You sip slowly. Every swallow feels like life returning. Just a little. A shadow falls over you. The Jarl. Again. His voice is calm, almost thoughtful. Weak slaves die early. Strong ones keep the ship moving. He leans closer. Which one are you? Your throat tightens. You force yourself to swallow. The Jarl studies your face. You don't answer. Not because you're brave, but because you can't trust your voice. Finally, he stands straight and nods once. Good. Fear keeps you alive. He leaves. You exhale slowly. The slave beside you whispers. Don't look at him too long. He can smell defiance. You finish the broth. Your stomach curls around the little warmth it offers. But hunger returns instantly. Hunger is patient. Hunger waits. Hunger watches you. Wide heavy check mark, and then something strange happens. A creak from below deck. A faint metallic echo. The sound of a chain, but not being checked. Being moved. The rower beside you goes pale. Someone is trying to pick the locks. You look toward the hatch. Shadows shift in the darkness beneath. Not Vikings. Not guards. Slaves. A chill crawls up your spine. Because you realize. Why'd heavy check mark someone is planning an escape? Why'd heavy check mark, and if they are caught, all of you will die. You swallow hard. A new fear forms in your chest. One sharper than hunger. Colder than the wind. It whispers. Tonight something will break. The day fades into a gray, breathless dusk. The cold deepens. Clouds sink low enough to touch. But the true danger is not the sea. Not the wind. Not the Vikings shouting above deck. The threat is below your feet. A quiet clink of iron. Barely a whisper. Someone working on a chain. You glance toward the hatch. Nothing but darkness. And the slow sway of the ship. But your gut knows. Slaves don't move at night unless death is close. Or freedom is closer. When the overseer finally leaves the deck to drink with the Vikings, the slaves are pushed back down into the bottom hold. The darkness swallows you immediately. You feel your way down, touching wetwood cold beams, other bodies breathing beside you. A few torchless minutes pass, the kind that feel like hours. Then, scratch, scratch, click. Not loud, not bold, but unmistakable. A chain being tested. You turn your head. 3 slaves sit in a tight circle, backs hunched, hands hidden. One of them holds something small. A sliver of broken iron. Maybe a nail. Maybe a piece of a bolt. He is scraping it against the lock on his shackle. Slow. Careful. Desperate. Another slave spots you watching. His voice is barely a breath. Don't say a word. Not unless you want all of us drowned. You swallow. Nod once. Their leader, a thin man with hollow eyes, leans forward. He whispers. The Vikings are drunk tonight. The sea is calm. The guard is half asleep. He holds up the tiny shard of iron. We only need one lock to break. One. Then the rest follow. Your chest tightens. You whisper back. Escape? Tonight. The man's faint smile is not hopeful. It's desperate. Escape? No. He shakes his head. Survival. We don't escape Vikings. We survive them long enough to choose how we die. The words sting. Another slave mutters. If the guards catch us. The leader cuts him off. If they catch us, we die. If they don't let us eat, we die. If the next storm hits, we die. Tell me, which death is worse? No one answers. The ship groans. Chains rattle softly with emotion. Cold air snakes across the floor. You whisper. What do you need? The leader stares at you for a long moment. His eyes reflect no light, only hunger and will. Silence. And when the time comes, your hands. You nod slowly. Your fingers are shaking. He leans closer. His voice is a coffin-lid whisper. At moonrise, we try. Your heart kicks against your ribs. A man on your right murmurs. What if the Vikings wake? The leader grips his chain. Then, this ship becomes a tomb. The longship rolls gently. Wood creaking. Ropes sighing. The sea whispering death against the hull. You close your eyes. Not to sleep, but to steady the pounding in your skull. Because tonight, under the weight of wood and salt, and fear. White heavy checkmark, the slaves are planning a mutiny. White heavy checkmark, and you are part of it now. The darkness presses closer. Every breath tightens like a noose. Your mind repeats, don't make noise, don't tremble, don't think. But one thought refuses to leave. If we fail, they will kill us slow. Night falls like a hammer. The sound of waves becomes slower, heavier, as if the sea itself is holding its breath. Wind coils around the longship, whispering through cracked planks and frozen ropes. You sit in the dark, your back against the cold wood, your wrists raw against chain. Every heartbeat feels like a countdown. Somewhere above, Vikings drink and shout. Their laughter thick with mead, their boots shaking the beams. But down here, nothing. Only silence sharp enough to cut skin. The leader of the slaves crawls closer, his shadow moving like a dying flame. His voice is a thin thread. 2 hours until moonrise. You nod. You don't trust your voice. Another slave, the youngest, whispers, will the guards come tonight? No answer, because the truth is simple. The Vikings always come, whether for water, punishment, or boredom. The silence breaks. Boom! A sudden wave slams the hull. The ship tilts, chains rattle, bodies sway. Someone gasps. The leader hisses. Quiet. The wave passes, leaving the hold trembling. Above deck, a Viking shouts something in Old Norse. You can't understand the words, but the tone is loud, irritated, awake. Your stomach turns. The leader grips your arm. Listen, the overseer will check below before he sleeps. He does it every night. Another slave. What if he sees the lock? The leader's answer is a knife. He won't. A pause. Or we die trying. The iron shard scrapes gently inside the lock again. The sound is microscopic. But down here, every noise feels like thunder. Scratch. Scratch. Click. The lock loosens. Just a little. Your breath shakes. White heavy checkmark, footsteps above. Suddenly, boots strike the deck overhead. Not drunken, staggered steps. Slow, controlled, purposeful. The slaves go rigid. A whisper. The overseer. Torchlight spills through the cracks in the wood. A shadow stretches across the ladder. You feel every muscle in your body stiffen. Your lungs stop halfway. The overseer descends slowly, each step like a god, choosing who dies next. The torch flames curve along his face. Scars, frostbitten skin, dead eyes. He scans the slaves, breathing like an animal hunting in the dark. He stops. Your heart slams so hard, you fear he'll hear it. He lifts the torch higher. The light inches toward the circle of slaves working the lock. The leader hides the iron shard in his mouth. A dangerous move. One slip, he'll swallow it and die. The overseer steps closer. His voice low. Someone's been moving down here. No one breathes. Not a whimper. Not a shuffle. Not a heartbeat. He kneels. Your skin turns to ice. The torchlight touches your chain. Moves on. Moves to the slave beside you. Then, he stops on the weakest man in the row. A man who has been coughing for 2 days. The overseer grabs him by the hair. You move. The man can't even protest. His voice is a broken whisper. I didn't please. The overseer slams him against the beam. Crack. You flinch. Everyone flinches. The coffer collapses. The overseer spits on him. Be quiet, or I'll drown the next one. He climbs the ladder again. Bootsteps pounding. Torchlight disappearing. Only when he shuts the hatch. Do the slaves breathe again? The leader spits out the iron shard. Blood in his mouth. We move at moonrise. He whispers. His voice cracks, trembling from the pain. We can't survive another night like this. White heavy check mark, the moon appears. Time drags. Cold spreads. Darkness presses. A faint, silver glow leaks through the cracks above. The moon has climbed. Its light is pale, distant, but to the slaves, it looks like a signal. The leader holds up the iron shard. This is the hour. Your heart explodes inside your chest. He inserts the metal again. Scratch. Scratch. Click. A drop of sweat rolls down your neck. A wave hits. Chains sway. The lock shifts. And then, click. It opens. The leader freezes. No one moves. No one breathes. Then he whispers. One chain is free. A slave to your right gasps quietly. Another clutches his chest. You feel your entire world crack open. Freedom. Real. Touching the edge of your fingers. But before relief can settle, a horn blows above deck. Short. Sharp. Urgent. The leader's face turns white. That horn is not for rowing. Not for storms. It's for danger. Something is wrong. A Viking shouts. Slaves. Everyone on deck. Now. Chains jolt as all heads turn toward the hatch. The leader whispers one final thing. Hide the open chain. Whatever happens, don't speak. Boots thunder above. The hatch begins to lift. Your time is up, and the rebellion, still unformed, is about to be tested. Before it even begins. If you want, I will now convert. The hatch slams open. Cold air knifes into the hold. Torchlight floods downward like molten gold spilled into darkness. A Viking leans over the edge, face twisted with urgency. Move! All of you move. His voice shakes not with anger, but fear. That is worse. Slaves scramble upward, chains clattering, bodies slipping on wet steps. A pair of Vikings drag men by the wrists, yanking them into the freezing air. You climb last. Your heart is a hammer. Your wrists burn from the hidden open lock. Your greatest risk and your greatest chance. When you emerge onto the deck, the world assaults you. The sea is no longer calm. It is alive. Waves heave like dark mountains. Wind slashes across the longship in screaming bursts. Sails thrash violently. A Viking shouts, "Storm from the north. We must row or we'll be pulled into the rocks." Another Viking responds, "Then get the slaves to the oars." Fast! The Jarl appears at the prow, cloak whipping like a torn banner. Lightning flickers behind him, turning his silhouette monstrous. He raises his arm. To the oars! The deck shakes with the command. Slaves stumble toward the benches, some crawling through the freezing water, collecting on the floorboards. You take your place at the oar. Your hands feel numb. Your bones ache. But you grip anyway, because you don't have a choice. White heavy check mark, the storm arrives. Lightning rips across the sky, branching white-violet. The sea rises. The ship rises with it. Then drops. You feel weightlessness. Then impact. Your teeth slam together. Water crashes over the side, drenching everyone. Salt stings your wounds. Your vision blurs. A Viking cracks his whip. Row, row, or die. The oar plunges into the dark water. You pull. Your shoulders ignite in pain. Your wrists scream. Your breath tears out of your chest. The slave beside you grunts. The sea is angry. You don't answer. You can't. The next wave slams into the hull so hard. You feel in your spine. A Viking loses his footing and falls hard, sliding across the deck. Another grabs the sail rope, but it snaps like thread in the wind. Chaos is climbing the ship. The Jarl roars. Hold the line. Thor tests us tonight. The Vikings roar in response. For Thor. For Odin. But the slaves? They suffer quietly. Your oar is nearly torn from your frozen grip. You pull harder, harder, harder. A crack of thunder splits the sky in half. The youngest slave 2 seats down cries out, "We cannot survive this." A Viking immediately slams the butt of his spear into his stomach. The boy folds, gasping. Row, whelp, or drown. White heavy checkmark death comes close. A massive wave, a demon of water, throws itself over the starboard side. It hits you like a wall. For a sickening second, you are underwater, salt burning your throat, lungs squeezing, world flipping. Hands drag you up, a slave to your left. You cough violently, choking on sea. He whispers, "Don't die now. We need you." The leader sits at the far bench, one lock open around his ankle, hidden beneath rags and darkness. He looks at you. Your eyes lock. He mouths a single word through the storm. Soon, the storm roars on. The longship lurches. Vikings shout. Slaves groan. Thunder shakes the world. But one thought burns in your mind. White heavy checkmark, the slaves are planning their break during the storm. Because in chaos, Vikings make mistakes. And mistakes are freedom. White heavy checkmark, the moment before the mutiny. As lightning flashes, you see something beneath the benches. A glimmer of metal. A loose iron ring. the one the leader unlocked. He nudges it toward you with his foot. You cover it with yours, pretending to brace against the storm. Another Viking shouts, "Heave together! Pull!" The slaves obey. But beneath the rhythm of rowing, another rhythm forms, the rhythm of rebellion. A hand clasp here, a nod there, a hidden blade, a loosened shackle, a whisper swallowed by thunder. You pull the oar again, and again, and again. Every stroke brings moonrise closer. Every stroke brings blood closer. Every stroke brings the Vikings closer to the moment. They will lose control of their own ship. The sea roars. The sky opens. And the slaves, you included, brace for the night that will change everything. Night has swallowed the storm. The wind lowers its voice. The rain becomes a whisper. But the silence is not peace. It is pressure, a tightening rope around the throat of the ship. Only the creaking of wet wood breaks the dark. The Vikings think the storm exhausted you. They think fear has tamed you. They are wrong. You are herded back below deck, soaked, frozen, shaking from exertion. But inside you burns something new. Not hope, not courage. A spark. The hatch closes. Darkness returns. Minutes pass. Or hours. You cannot tell. Then, beneath the benches, hidden from the small lantern's glow, a sound. Tick, tick, tick. CHLK. A lock. Opens. The leader exhales slowly, almost trembling. The first chain has been broken. He lifts the open shackle with both hands, as if holding a newborn thing. A few slaves gasp softly, not in joy, but in fear. Freedom is a blade. Beautiful. Dangerous. Impossible to hold without bleeding. The leader whispers. One unlocked. For more to go. When a moon is highest, we rise. But before anyone breathes again, KRRRT, the hatch above scrapes open. A flood of light. Boots pounding on the ladder. A Viking guard descends. Everybody in the hold freezes. The leader quickly drops the loose shackle into a pile of rags. Just as the Viking reaches the bottom, he scans the room, his torch hissing. His eyes are sharp, hungry, suspicious. He steps forward. What was that sound? No one answers. No one moves. Even the darkness holds its breath. The Viking walks slowly through the hold, dragging his spear along the floorboards. Wood groans. The slaves flinch with each step. The guard's gaze lands on you. You. He points with the spear. Stunt. Your heart slams in your chest. You stand. He grabs your wrist, the one with the slightly loosened shackles. If he sees the looseness, if he senses the trick, everything ends tonight. The leader stares at you silently, waiting, ready to kill the guard if necessary, even if it means dying seconds later. The Viking tightens his grip. Your bones creak. He leans close, sniffs your clothes. You still smell of storm water. He pushes you back roughly. Get used to it. Winter has only begun. He turns away. The leader's hand slowly relaxes around the hidden weapon. The slaves exhale one by one. But before relief can settle, the Viking kicks a clay bowl. It rolls, stops, right beside the pile of rags, where the broken shackle is hidden. The guard bends down, picks up the bowl. His torchlight flickers, inches away from the loose chain. The slaves tremble. A single flick of his eyes would destroy everything. Seconds stretch like rope. The Viking looks at the bowl lazily, shrugs, and tosses it aside. He climbs the ladder. The hatch shuts. Darkness returns, but this time it buzzes. Alive, electric, terrifying. The leader picks up the broken shackle again. His voice is a blade's whisper. This is our night. We came one breath from death. Now we move carefully, but we move. His eyes shift toward you. When the next lock breaks, you will decide who is the first Viking to fall. Your blood turns cold. This is no longer a whisper of rebellion. This is the beginning of a war, fought in chains and shadows. The longship creaks. The sea mutters. The slaves lean close, fear mixing with something sharper. Not hope, not courage. Resolve. Tonight, the first lock opened. Next, a Viking will bleed. The hold is suffocating. The darkness no longer comforts you. It waits. Every creak of the ship becomes a drumbeat of warning. Every breath tastes like metal. Every shackle feels like a countdown. The leader signals. A second chain is loose. Your hands shake as you slide it open. Metal whispers against metal. A click that sounds louder than thunder. The slaves freeze. Even the rats stop scuttling. Above deck, a Viking coughs. The sound is too close, too loud, too ordinary. Then a shadow falls. A tall, broad Viking, lantern in hand, descends the ladder. He stops mid-step. His eyes scan the hold, sharp as axes. And then they settle on the leader. Who's moving in the dark, he growls. The leader steps forward. Calm, focused. A predator cloaked in human skin. You watch as he reaches for the Viking's leg. A dagger flashes. The first strike is swift. The Viking gasps, crashes into the floorboards. A scream cuts the air. Another Viking, alert, charging down the ladder. Chaos explodes. Shackles rattle. Bodies tumble. You act on instinct. A chain swings, hitting a guard. A knife finds its mark. The hold becomes a storm of limbs, metal, and fear. Some slaves freeze. Some fight with savage precision. Every second stretches into eternity. Then silence. Panting. Sweat mixes with blood and sea spray. The first Viking lies still. Another staggers, screaming, retreating to the ladder. The leader exhales, eyes gleaming. He looks at you, voice low and dangerous. This is only the beginning. Tonight we taste blood. Tomorrow, the Longship will remember our names. The hold is littered with bodies, shadows, and broken chains. The air hums with adrenaline and terror. You realize, once the first strike is taken, there is no turning back. The Viking Longship creaks, the sea roars, and the slaves, no longer silent, begin to rise. The hold is a storm. Metal clashes against metal. Shouts echo in the darkness. Chains lie twisted on the wet floor. Some slaves scramble for them, shaking off years of restraint. Every movement feels like freedom, but freedom tastes like fear. Above deck, the Vikings shout. The sound of boots on wood is thunderous. A lantern swings, casting flickering shadows across the walls. You crawl toward the ladder. The air is thick with sweat, blood, and the cold bite of the northern sea. The leader covers the rear, his dagger cutting a path through anyone who dares block the way. A Viking lunges. A slave meets him with a swing of a chain. The man falls. Another follows. The ladder feels like salvation. Every rung brings you closer to the wind, the cold, the storm outside. You emerge onto the deck. The ship pitches violently. Waves crash over the side, spraying salt water into your face. The Viking crew fights desperately. Axes swing. Spears jab. But the slaves are relentless, driven by hunger, fear, and rage. The leader signals. A rope is thrown. The first few jump overboard. The icy water hits like 1,000 needles. Shock stings, but survival pushes you forward. You hesitate. The ship tilts. Another Viking approaches. Your hand finds a knife, reflex more than thought. Strike. He stumbles back. You leap overboard. The cold sea envelopes you. Waves crash. You sink, then break the surface. The storm roars. Lightning flashes. You are alive. The Longship looms behind, chaos above, darkness below. And yet, the taste of freedom is sharp and bitter. This is not the end. It is only the beginning of a journey no one will remember. No one, except the sea and those who survive it. You float in the black waves. The storm lashes your face. Salt burns your eyes. Your body shivers uncontrollably, but every instinct screams, keep moving. Above, the Viking Longship drifts, battered, axes glinting in flashes of lightning. Shouts echo across the water, but they fade with distance. You grasp a piece of floating timber, dragging yourself toward the faint silhouette of land. The horizon is a blur, cold gray blending into black. Every stroke of your arms is agony, but it is also life. Memories flash. The chains, the hunger, the screams of those who didn't make it. Your lungs burn. Your hands bleed. Your mind clings to one thought. Freedom. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time is meaningless in this watery abyss. A faint light emerges, the first sign of dawn. Land. Rocks jagged like teeth. You crawl ashore, collapsing onto the cold sand, chest heaving, body numb. The storm recedes. The wind drops, leaving a heavy silence. Only the sea roars now, a reminder of what you left behind. You rise slowly, every movement painful. Behind you, the ship drifts out of sight. Above you, the sky brightens, soft orange bleeding into gray. You are alone, but you are alive, and survival for now is enough. The road ahead is uncertain. The world has ignored your story so far, but it has not ended. You are a witness, a survivor, a living testament to the lives that history forgot. And as the waves lap at your feet, you know, this is only the beginning.